Go ahead.
Just going into this week, how does the president view his role in these negotiations? Is he the closer? Is he the facilitator? Like, what's his approach this week to try and get this across the finish line?
I feel like there's a baseball analogy here I won't really want to deliver on, so my husband thinks I'm cool, but I can't think of it. Look, I think the president, having served 36 years in the Senate, he's always going to be deeply involved. He's always going to roll up his sleeves and want to know every detail of what's being discussed, every detail of the proposal and package. As I noted in response to Mary's question, I suspect he'll have some members here over the next couple of days to have those discussions in person. So I don't know how you. I will leave it to all of you to characterize or give a label for that. But he's ready to roll up his sleeves. Ready. The door to the Oval Office is always open, and he'll be deeply involved and engaged in these negotiations over the coming days.
And some progressives have made the ask that if you're going to move forward with this bipartisan package, moderate senators commit to them to supporting the reconciliation piece of this as well, the second track, if you will. Will the president also seek that commitment from the moderates if they do move forward on a bipartisan piece of legislation?
Well, I would say that the president sees this as a process that has multiple paths forward, and the reconciliation process, which is already underway, being led through the budget committees in Congress, is an important component of that. And a number of his priorities and his proposals that he's put forward are not a part of this negotiation or not a part of this discussion that's happening in a bipartisan manner. So he certainly would like to see that move forward, and he will make that case to others as well.
And just one last quick one. Does he support the Manchin language on the voting rights issue?
Well, again, I think this is a compromise, and as that happens, as compromises happen, it means there's a lot that you like about it, and it may not be everything you love, but he certainly sees this as a step forward. And as Stacey Abrams said over the weekend, incremental steps forward in making voting rights more accessible, making voting more available is a good thing. And he certainly is appreciative of the efforts by Senator Manchin and others to continue to make progress on voting rights, which he feels is a huge priority. Go ahead.
Some quick follow-ups on things that have already been discussed.
Sure.
First, on infrastructure, the meeting that would be taking place at the White House this week, do we have a day or people who would be attending on that yet?
It's an excellent question. We will provide more details to you as soon as we have them, but I suspect it could be more than one engagement.
Okay. And then on voting rights, there's been a lot of concerns expressed about whether it's the Manchin proposal, the two bills that have been already floating in Congress, that they actually don't address the key issues that are being faced right now, which is local election officials being removed, being taken, their power being taken away from them. Is the White House going to say anything about what more needs to be done to deal with those specific issues that are happening right now?
Yeah, I think that's an important point to raise. Even if the voting rights bill was sailing across the finish line with support of every member of Congress, there would still be more to be done, and that's why the vice president is going to be leading this effort. You're right that some of that is protections for officials in states. Some of that is, frankly, pushing back on the more than 40 states where there's legislation moving forward that makes it more difficult for people to exercise a fundamental right, which is the right to vote. So, again, this is not the end of our effort. This is in some ways the beginning. And there is going to be more work done by the president, by the vice president, by the administration to expand access to voting rights.
And then one more thing, just on the financial regulation meeting that's happening in the Oval Office today. There were a number of issues that I didn't see on kind of your readout of what was going to be discussed at that meeting. It could be anything from the Federal Reserve signaling interest rate hikes to the role that meme stocks are playing in financial stability. Just anything. I mean, are those issues going to be raised, and what more is going to be just focused on?
Well, we'll provide a readout of the meeting when the meeting concludes. I would note that it is a routine meeting, and most presidents meet with their financial regulators. There is, of course, a couple of items on the proactive agenda, and when it's concluded, we'll provide a readout, including the state of the country's financial institutions, work that they're all doing to promote financial stability, implementation updates around climate-related financial risk, agency actions on financial inclusion and access to credit. That's the proactive agenda. As you know, in these meetings, different topics come up, but this is, again, in our view, a standard and routine meeting where they'll discuss, the focus will really be on those topics.